when I came back on the 1st of August 2012, inflation was at its peak and rising. The current account deficit was ballooning. Rupee was depreciating. The then governor, Dr. Rao's reaction was to raise interest rates. I think he did it 13 times in that one and a half year period. Now, we had to restore growth, not the kind of growth that was fueled by the stimulus packages between 2009 and 2012, but sustainable growth, investment-led growth, consumption-led growth. At the same time, we had this huge problem of the current account and the fiscal deficit. Dr. Raghuram Rajan had joined as Chief Economic Advisor. And I think Governor, myself and the CEA and the Finance Ministry officials, the Finance Secretary and others worked together. We were doing pretty well. The packages are being worked out to stabilize the currency, to reduce inflation. And just as things were coming under control, Mr. Ben Bernanke made that famous, and in retrospect everybody says, thoughtless remark on that US will begin the withdrawal from quantitative easing. He was not going to do it for several months thereafter. He didn't do it for several months. In fact, it was done by successor Allen, not by him. And that thoughtless remark has been enshrined in economic literature as the taper tantrum. A completely unnecessary remark for which in a G20 meeting and an IMF meeting many finance ministers questioned him. And I had commented rather strongly on that remark. But by that time he had left and Janet Allen had taken over. Anyway, to cut a long story short, the package was ready and I wanted Dr. Rao to announce it before he stepped down. We had marathon meetings in the Finance Ministry. Everybody had agreed on the package, but for some reason Dr. Rao was reluctant. He said, my successor should do it. I said, listen, please do it. I'll ask Dr. Rajan to sit with you. Both of you address a press conference. But he was reluctant. Anyway, Dr. Rajan took over. What was the date? September 4, 2013. And within minutes of his taking over, he announced the package. And that is when things began to stabilize. The double-digit inflation began to decline from November 2013. By May, June 2014, it had come to 6.7%. That year, the current account deficit had been contained from the high of 88 billion to a much smaller number, something like 1.7% of the GDP. The currency, which had sharply depreciated thanks to the taper tantrum, began to stabilize. And then we did that very bold move of attracting foreign currency deficits, which will come up for redemption now in December. But we have the reserves to redeem it, so nothing to worry about that. What was very, very good was Dr. Raghuram Rajan acted with speed and courage. He should have. In fact, in retrospect, I should have given him the 5-year term. But the precedents were to the contrary. Dr. Rao, before him, Dr. Rangarajan, before him, Dr. Jalan, were all given 3-year terms. And they were told that in the normal course it will be extended. So in the same manner, we didn't think twice about it. We said Dr. Rajan will also get a 3-year term, and in the normal course it will be extended. But looking back, maybe I should have given him a 5-year term straight away. You see, my biggest regret is that our response to the international financial crisis of 2008 was initially a very sound response. But then we stuck to the textbook too long. We should have reined in the fiscal deficit and cut back on government expenditure at least March of 2012 or even earlier. 2009, 2010 was right, maybe up to March 2011 was right, but in the 2011-12 budget we should have started cutting back. That cost us quite a bit in terms of public perception, that the government was unable to rein in inflation, and inflation is the first thing that hits the common man, hits the people of India, middle class, poor, whatever. The Vodafone tax, of course, is a matter of deep regret because it affected perceptions worldwide among investors and analysts. We should have handled the fallout of the 2G licenses better. For example, I found that piece of paper. I had given a clear recommendation in writing to the Prime Minister that let's cancel the 2G licenses ourselves. In fact, my feedback is that the Supreme Court was expecting the government to cancel the licenses before it pronounced judgment. Even when the hearing was going on, it was pretty clear that they will strike down the licenses. And I had sent a note to the Prime Minister, let's cancel the licenses ourselves. And if somebody wants to challenge the cancellation, let him go to court and win his license again. At least we have done our duty by cancelling the licenses. I think we should have cancelled the licenses. Another regret is that the Prime Minister should have pushed on his idea that coal blocks should be auctioned. Please remember, Dr. Manmohan Singh was very clear in his mind that coal blocks should be auctioned. Well, I think the 2003-04 budget, the farm loan waiver, practically won the election for the Congress, the re-election for the Congress. And the allocation for Manrega, those were the two highlights of 2008-09 budget, just before the 2009 election. The 2008-09 budget, where we made a massive allocation to Manrega, rolled it out all over the country in less than 6 or 7 months, and then the farm loan waiver. Dr. Manmohan Singh, because he was the finance minister when economic reforms were ushered in a big way, and because he ended his career as Prime Minister. And I think he had put a stamp on India's economic management for 15 years. 5 years as finance minister, 10 years as Prime Minister. And it was simply by the longevity of his period in office, and by the fact that he ended his term as Prime Minister, he will outshine everyone else. As I said, Mr. Yashwant Sinha was a very competent craftsman of budgets. He understood technical aspects of budget making extremely well. I only wish he was more lucky. But I think he understood what needs to be done. In fact, he made some bold proposals which even his party would not accept. For example, public sector banks, government holding can go down below 51. This party did not accept. Mr. Jaswant Singh was there only for a year, and I don't think even he can claim to have made a very lasting contribution. But apart from that, well, India has had only 5 finance ministers in the last 25 years.